A sluggish brute, fierce but foolish, challenging the king. Its graceful wings drawing a silver arch in the sky. In a flash, the tables turn. Stay aground and curse your fate, whilst your body is consumed by flame.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Toon Duelists. My name is Prototype and today I got a Dragon Ruler deck profile for you guys. I'm playing the Dragon Ruler deck without the Tenpai engine, so it's not at full power, but everybody that went to locals, they know playing Tenpai is not fun and playing against Tenpai is not fun either. So I decided, let's build it without the Tenpai engine and have it in a more pure kind of version. I like that way better, and I hope you guys enjoy the deck that way too. And I just wanted to show you guys an option because I've never seen it on any profiles, on any builds without the Tenpai engine, and that's something I wanted to present you guys today. So let's dive into the video. Alright guys, let's start off with the Dragon Rulers, of course. We're playing 2 copies of Blaster, 2 copies of Tidal, 2 copies of Tempest, and 3 copies of Redox. Redox on 3 is important because it's part of the combo. We need it 3 times in the combo, so you cannot play this on 2. This is the only one we need to play on 3. So for the effects of these cards, so basically all of them have the same effect. You can banish either a dragon monster or a monster with the same attribute as the effect you're trying to use. So example with Tempest, you could ban Troll and Lockbird, for example, from your banish from your graveyard and then summon them. So basically, dragons, they are all dragons, the entire deck is dragons, so all the monsters you have in your deck can be banished to summon out one of these Dragon Ruler monsters here. And hand traps can also be used, like with Blaster you can, for example, banish Ash Blossom from your graveyard and then summon Blaster. That's the effect they all share. Then on top of that, if they get banished, you can add a dragon monster with the same attribute to your hand. So when Tempest gets banished, you can add a dragon monster with the wind attribute from the deck to your hand. And then that's the effect they all share. And then the last effect is always specific to the monster. So Blaster lets you pop your opponent's monster, like 1 pop. If you discard Blaster and a fire monster, fire or dragon monster I think it is, or is it only fire? Let me double check real quick. I think it is 1 fire monster, yes. You can discard this in 1 fire monster and then destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. Tidal is a foolish burial. So when you discard this and a water monster, you can foolish something from your deck to the graveyard. Tempest is a search, you can add any dragon from the deck to your hand. And Redox is a monster reborn, you can special summon any monster in your graveyard back to your field. 2 copies of each monster is the perfect ratio. We're playing a 40 card deck, not a 60 card pile, because we want to have consistency and see the strong cards in our hands more often, of course, and hand traps and stuff like that, of course, too. So for that reason, it's gonna be a 40 card deck, and if you play all of these at 3, then your half of your deck is already like big booked out with those monsters. So yeah, 2 is the perfect ratio for our version of the Dragon Ruler deck. Next up, we have the baby Dragon Rulers. So we're playing 2 Burner, 2 Stream, 2 Reactan, and 2 Lightning, of course. So in the Tenpai version of the deck, you play all of these just at 1. We're not playing the Tenpai engine, so we're playing all of them as a 2 because they are starters, and they are better starters than their big brothers. I will show you later in the combos. and that those actually gain more value when you draw them. So that's why we're playing 2 of them each. You wanna draw at least 1 of them into your opening hand, so you have a starter, or if you drew one of the very good starters in this deck, then as an extender, or in case you get hand trapped, that you can still play. So yeah, 2 of those are very important in our deck. And the effect of them is basically very simple. You discard them and a dragon or same attribute monster. So with Burner you could, for example, discard Burner and Ash Blossom, or Burner and any of your Dragon Rulers. And then you can special summon their big brother from your deck onto the field. So with Burner you special summon Blaster, with Stream you special summon Tidal, with Reactan you special summon Redox, and with Lightning you special summon Tempest from your deck. And like I said, very easy. With Reactan you, for example, can discard the Lightning and then you can special summon. So our starters, like I said, we need 2 because those we wanna see in our hand to get our game going. Now to the best cards in the main deck. We're playing 3 copies of Spectral and 1 copy of Nebulous. So Spectral is the best starter in the deck. You wanna always draw this card. That's why we're playing as a 3-off. And Nebulous is part of our combo. That's why we're playing it as a 1-off. You don't wanna draw this. You only wanna use this in your combo. So the effect of Spectral is basically you could discard this monster and any other dragon or light monster, and then you can add 2 Dragon Ruler monsters from the deck to your hand. So yeah, amazing searcher, and that's what gets us started really good. But the cards you're searching with Spectral, you're usually drawing 2, so you don't have to draw this card. I mean, it's very good when you draw it, but in case you don't draw it, you can still play and set up your full board and go full combo. This just makes you more hand trap proofed too. And then Nebulous, when you can discard this card and a dragon or darkness monster, and then special summon 2 of your banished Dragon Rulers. And yeah, like I said, it's part of the combo. You guys will see later why and when we use this. As a small side engine, we're playing the Nemesis package. 3 copies of Nemesis Corridor and 3 copies of Nemesis Flag. So those cards work really, really well with the Dragon Ruler deck, because of the Dragon Rulers you always banish cards, and basically you can special summon these here as soon as you have a banished card. And then you can cheat out the Nemesis, what's it called? We will see in the extra deck in a second. And anyway, so that's a nice little side engine that makes your going first board a lot stronger. And on top of that, they are wind and fire, so even if you drew multiple of them, or if you ate a hand trap already and you have to use them to extend basically, then you can still use them because you can banish them from the graveyard with the big Dragon Rulers, or you can discard them with the small Dragon Rulers for your hand to keep playing. So they basically never brick, and when you draw them it's always good because your end board is stronger. But you can also take those 5 cards out and just put non-engine in it, like 3 Imperms for example, and 2 other hand traps that would also make the deck stronger. It's whatever you prefer. I like to play those. And then we play 1 copage of Armor Fark. This card is also part of the combo, and its effect is that your opponent cannot special summon from its extra deck, or you yourself cannot special summon from the extra deck either, but you summon this in your opponent's turn when your entire board is already set up, so it doesn't really matter to you. So this is a very nice lock that a lot of people struggle to play through, and then when this card is on the field, you usually have the win. This is the card I meant that you can cheat out with the Nemesis engine from that Dragon Colossus. A very strong card because your opponent cannot add cards to their hand other than by drawing, so their entire searchers don't work anymore. But yeah, we will talk about that more later in the combos and in the extra deck. Alright, last but not least, the non-engine. basically hand traps. I mean, you guys can play whatever non-engine you prefer. It doesn't have to be those 13 cards, can be 13 different cards. I think Ash Blossom and Drawn and Lock are non-negotiable because they are fire and wind, so in case you need to discard them with the small dragon rulers to keep playing, you can do that. So yeah, they don't brick basically, they can be used in your engine, or you can banish them with the big dragon rulers to summon the dragon rulers. And they are also very strong hand traps. Ash Blossom and Drawn and Lock are the best hand traps at the moment, I think. So yeah, I think those two are maybe not negotiable, but for the rest here, you can basically play whatever you want, whatever you prefer. I like this package here. I mean, of course, Imperm is better than Effect Wheeler, for example, but Effect Wheeler is a monster on the other hand that is light, so you could discard it with Spectral, or Nibiru, same thing, is also light monster, so it can be discarded with Spectral if you don't have anything else in your hand to discard. So that's why I preferred the Imperm here, the Effect Wheeler here over the Imperm. And then Call by the Grave, I mean, it's a no-brainer when you go first and you get Ash Blossomed and then Effect Wheelered after that, or Troll and Locked or whatever, then you do want to have this card so you can keep playing. And that's why I decided to play this non-engine package here. And that's it for the 40 card main deck. Let's look at the extra deck. Okay, so in the extra deck we're playing 2 copies of Jasma Dragon Ruler. This is a no-brainer. As soon as you have 2 Dragon Rulers level 7 on your field, you wanna go into this XYZs here. It's part of your combo. You sometimes do your combo twice. In the first turn and the third turn maybe again. So therefore, this is definitely a 2-off and absolutely mandatory. Eclipse, also part of the combo. This is the second XYZs 7 that you want to go into after you have Jasma on the field. Yeah, no-brainer, absolutely mandatory. Then we have Disaster, that is kind of nice, especially going second, because you can summon this card when those 2 are on the field, and then it does crazy shit. Basically, when you have all attributes in your graveyard, which is very easy to do in a Dragon Ruler deck, you can all attach them to Disaster, and as soon as this card has all the attributes, it gains 4000 attack, 4600 attack and defense, and on top of that, every attribute that this card has in this material, your opponent's cards are banished with the same attribute. So usually it has all the attributes, so your opponent's entire field and graveyard is banished. And even if you lack one attribute, let's say you lack fire, for example, then everything is banished but fire. Most decks still die from that, like only a fire deck would survive through that. And if you know you're playing against a fire deck, you make sure you have the fire one in your graveyard and therefore maybe not the water one, for example. So yeah, this is a very deadly card going second when you're able to get this out. And then Blaze, Supreme Ruler of all dragons. I mean, it's the weakest of those Dragon Ruler cards here, but of course it belongs into a Dragon Ruler deck and it allows you to pop a card your opponent controls and a card you control, and then when this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it by banishing 2 fire or dragon monsters from your graveyard, and then you can use the pop effect again. But this time when it leaves the field, I think it goes back to the extra deck. So yeah, it's not an infinite loop, but you can pop 2 cards with it, and that's kind of nice for sure. Maybe let me explain the effects of these 2 here real quick too. So when this one is summoned, it's a quick effect. It's not an on-summon effect, never mind. It's a quick effect, you can do this at any time. You can put a level 7 Dragon Ruler monster from your deck to your graveyard and then use its effect as it was the effect of the card you put in the graveyard. So when you put a Blaster, you can pop your opponent's monster. If you use a Tempest, you can add any dragon into your hand. If it was a Redox, you can reborn anything from your graveyard, and if it was a Tidal, you can foolish anything from your deck to the graveyard. And then Eclipse is basically a spell trap negate. Yeah. And you can also summon a Dragon Ruler monster back. This one also has a nice addition to its effect. When this is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon a Dragon Ruler monster from your graveyard or banishment. So that's a nice little addition. And then with Eclipse, I have to add something real quick. The special summon effect is you gotta choose a Dragon Ruler monster level 4 or lower. So you choose a baby basically from your graveyard or banishment, and then you summon the big brother from your deck into your monster zone. So it's not you choose any Dragon Ruler in your graveyard or banishment that you special summon. No, it's choosing a baby and then special summoning from deck with the big brother. And that's also part of the reason why we always want to see a baby in our hand or have used the baby's effect, so it's in the graveyard or in the banishment. So we can use Eclipse's effect to extend. For the rest of the rank 7 monsters, we are playing Fall Four Fingers, which is a quick effect pop. Number 11, Big Eye. You can take control of one monster your opponent controls. And then Dark Aniled Arm is a detach, banish, and then pop your opponent's monster, and it's not a once per turn or opponent's card, I think it is. So you can basically banish 2 of your Dragon Rulers. The effects might trigger if you haven't used them, and you can pop 2 cards your opponent controls. So basically, those 2 are situational. If you need a quick effect, you go into this one. If you don't need a quick effect and you wanna pop 2 cards, you go into this one. And we're also playing 1 Superstar Slayer Typhon. This card is very easy to summon out in the Dragon Ruler deck, because usually, let's say you went first, your opponent was able to break your board, and you have nothing left on your field anymore. You're basically dead, but you survived with 1,000 life points or something like that. In your next turn, you can use your Dragon Ruler's effects in your graveyard again. Your opponent might have an interruption on the field now, an Omni Negate or whatever, so you cannot get 2 rank 7, level 7 monsters on your field to go into your place again, but only 1. And then you can summon out Superstar Slayer with that 1 monster that you summoned back from your graveyard, and then break your opponent's board that way. And for the rest of the extra deck, we're playing 4 Link monsters and 2 Fusion monsters. So first up we have Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, which gains a really strong effect when the material that was used contains a level 7 or higher monster. All the Dragon Rulers are level 7 or higher, so this one is pretty easy to get out in our deck, and is really strong, has some strong protection, and your opponent usually has a difficult time getting rid of it. Then we're playing IP, because sometimes you have 2 monsters left on your field, and you can use them to go into IP, and then when you use the Dragon Ruler effects from Chasma or from Eclipse already, then you can use IP's effect, send IP and Chasma or Eclipse, depending on what you've already used, and then summon out Unicorn and have that way another interruption. I'm playing Unicorn here because it's the cheap option. Of course, you can also play SP Little Knight here and summon out SP Little Knight instead of Unicorn, and that way you have an even stronger interruption. You don't have to do a discard, so SP is definitely the better card. If you have it, play it. I decided to go the budget version here. Then we're playing 2 Heretic Seal, 1 Heretic Seal, which is part of our combo. You basically put this on your board every time you go first, and it's a quick effect in your opponent's turn. Bounce an opponent's card, and then when you tribute this card to use that effect, you can special summon a dragon from your deck, which of course is in the Dragon Ruler deck really strong. And then we are playing 2 copies of Thunder Dragon Colossus. I mean, you guys saw the Nemesis engine, and this card is very easy to get out. And we're playing 2 copies because you usually put this on your going first board when you draw into a Nemesis card. Sometimes you draw into a second Nemesis card. Then you can use this in the following turn, or your top deck a Nemesis card, and then you can get this out again, because you always have banished cards in the Dragon Ruler deck anyway, so you always get them out, and that's why we're playing 2 copies right here. And the effect, by the way, is also really strong. I think I explained it earlier already, but in case you haven't seen that, its effect is basically when your opponent cannot add cards from his main deck to his hand other than through drawing. So all his searches are basically offline and cannot be used. And on top of that, this has a protection effect. You can banish a nemesis card from your graveyard instead of this getting destroyed. So that is also pretty strong.
With feet firmly on the ground, nothing can stop my advance. Go ahead, form my plans. Attack if you so dare. I am the queen, and thou shalt bow before me.
Alright guys, let's look at two combos. So the first combo is with Spectral. You only need Spectral and one other light or dragon monster. So this can be anything, basically any card in your deck works, but some non-ancient cards you have in there. But yeah, you will always have this online, you will always be able to use this. So in our example, we're just using a second Spectral. So we use Spectral's effect, discard it, and another light or dragon monster to add ourselves two dragon ruler monsters from our deck to our hand. We will add to our hand a Reactan. This one is very important, this one has to be it for sure. And then we can choose between Blaster and Tidal. For those two it doesn't matter, whatever one you prefer, whichever one you like better. Maybe you have a favorite one, then you use that so you play with it more often. In my case, I'm gonna use the Blaster now. So then you activate Reactan's effect and discard it and Blaster to special summon a Redox from your deck. Here it is. Redox, my boy. And then next up you can use Blaster's effect in the graveyard to banish Reactan and Spectral and summon the Blaster. Now you're ready to go into XYZs, and like I said earlier, we are always going into Chasma. And then with Chasma's effect, we are detaching Redox. It has to be Redox, very important. Always remember that. And then we can put one Dragon Ruler from our deck into the graveyard and use its effect like it was the monster's effect. So we're putting Tempest into our graveyard, and then we can add ourselves a dragon monster to our hand, since that was Tempest's effect. And in that case we will add a Nebulous to our hand. Next up we're gonna use Tempest's effect in the graveyard and banish Redox and Spectral from our graveyard to summon out the Tempest. Then Redox effect will trigger, and because it got banished, we can add ourselves one Earth or Dragon, or one Earth Dragon to our hand. Has to be Earth Dragon. And now we will add ourselves to the hand the Amorpharch monster. Here it is. This is our hand here. Next up, we will use Nebulous effect and discard Amorpharch and Nebulous, and then we'll choose two Dragon Ruler monsters with different attributes in our banishment, which will be Redox and Spectral, and special summon them. Now we have two level 7 Dragon Rulers on our side of the field again, so we will go into our next XC7, which this time will be Eclipse. Now Eclipse's on-summon effect triggers, and we can target a Dragon Ruler monster level 4 or lower in our banishment and special summon the Big Brother from our deck. So it has to be Reactan, of course, since we don't have with Spectral an option in our deck. And that's why we need 3 Redox, because now we already have the second Redox in play, and the third Redox we will also need later. I will show you guys that. Okay, so now we have Redox on our side of the field, and now what we can do is link those two off into Erratic Seals. And now we pass our turn. That's basically what we got here. Now in our opponent's draw phase, we will activate Chasma's effect, discard or detach a blaster, and then send the third Redox. That's why we gotta play 3 copies of Redox from our deck to the graveyard to use its effect. And its effect is we can special summon a monster from our graveyard, which will be the Armor Fog monster. And now your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck anymore. I mean, we cannot special summon from the extra deck either, but we already set up our board, and that's the most important. So now, basically what we got here, we can bounce an opponent's monster, and then special summon a dragon from our deck. We have a spell Trap Negate, and we lock your opponent out of its extra deck, of their extra deck. So yeah, this is a very strong end board, and your opponents usually don't play through this. Additionally, what we have sometimes, now if we have a nemesis monster in our hand, doesn't matter if it's nemesis flag or nemesis corridor. Let's use nemesis corridor as an example this time. We can special summon nemesis corridor. This is in our turn, of course, still, but yeah, I'm putting this back for now for a second, because this is in our turn, so we don't get anything confused here. Blaster was here. We special summon the corridor by shuffling Spectral back into our deck, and then the summon conditions are met for Coloss. We can send this and summon Coloss. And now, additionally to what we just had, we have Coloss on our field, which means our opponent cannot add cards from the deck to his hand other than by drawing. And then same thing happens again in that draw phase. Detach, send Redox, and summon back Armor Fog. So yeah, this is even a stronger board. Okay guys, this is where it gets complicated now. But this is usually what a typical hand here looks like. You have 3 Dragon Rulers in your hand, and then on top of that hand trap or 2 hand traps, and maybe Nemesis monster. So yeah, this is a very typical hand here. So that's where I'm gonna show you how to play the combo. It works with any combination of Dragon Rulers, but you need at least 1 baby. It doesn't work when you have 3 big Dragon Rulers. If that's your hand, for example, then let's say you use Redox effect to banish Tidal and Blaster to special summon Redox. Then Blaster and Tidal trigger and you get the babies in your hand, but then you've already used 3 out of 4 Dragon Ruler effects, and that's not working. Like, you cannot get into your combo, you're not gonna build your board. That's why we're playing 2 babies of each copy, because they are the most important starters. You always want to see at least 1 baby in your hand, so you can play your combo. Like I said, with 3 Dragon Rulers, it's not really possible. So let's say this is our start hand. I added Reactan and Redox for a second, because when you draw either one of those, the combo still works, but you have to do it in a different order. Like, you have to do some things earlier than you usually would when you drew any of those. But it's pretty much, when you see the combo, it's self-explanatory what's happening and why the order is slightly different when you draw those. It's just get into the combo. So you have, for example, Lightning, Tidal, and Blaster. In my case, I'm gonna discard Lightning and Blaster with Lightning's effect and summon a Tempest out. And then you're gonna use Tidal's effect. You banish the Blaster and the Lightning from your graveyard to special summon it. Blaster triggers and you add yourself a burner to your hand. Then you have your rank 7 right here, so you're going into Chasma. And then you use Chasma's effect, detach the Tempest, and then send Tempest from your deck to your grave. And then you can use Tempest's effect, and you're gonna add yourself Spectral into your hand. Now you're gonna use Spectral's effect, discard it with Burner, and add yourself 2 Dragon Rulers into your hand, which are gonna be the Nebulous and the Redox. And then you're gonna use your Tempest effect in your graveyard, since you haven't used that yet other than with Jasma. And now it's important you banish the Redox from your hand and, let's say, Burner from your graveyard. The second one doesn't matter as much. And then you summon out the Tempest. Now Redox effect triggers, and you can add yourself the Armor Fog monster from the deck to your hand. Now you're gonna use Nebulous effect, discard it with Armor Fog, and now you can special summon 2 of your banished Dragon Ruler monsters. So we're gonna summon Redox and Blaster in this case. And now you can go into your next rank 7 play. Then Eclipse's effect triggers, and you target the Burner in your banished zone to special summon Blaster from your deck. And now you're pretty much in your combo again, or you pretty much have your full combo. This you link off into Seals. Push this a little bit down. And then in your opponent's draw phase, effect Jasma, detached Tidal, send Redox, and special summon the Armor Fog monster back. So yeah, same end board like earlier. Yeah, this is pretty much doable with any Dragon Ruler combination in your hand, like I said, but it has to be one baby. And when you have Redox or Reactan here, then the route is the same, but in a different order. You just have to make sure that you banish the Redox pretty early, so you can have Armor Fog in your hand and discard it with another effect, like with Spectral's effect or with Nebulous's effect. Yeah, but yeah, those are basically the 2 important combos that I wanted to show you guys. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and definitely let me know down in the comments what you think about this version of the Dragon Rulers. And also, if you have any ideas on how to make the deck better, then please let me know. I mean, instead of Tenpai, maybe you have another engine in your mind that you think would work really well with this deck. If that's the case, let's have a discussion about it in the comments. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.